On the morning of May 6, 2000, Tracey Scarff appeared in a desperate state at her mother-in-law's house asking for help. Her stepdaughter Lauren would not wake up. The child was just 6 years old. She lay lifeless in bed with several bruises. According to the coroner, the fractures and bruises resembled those received in a serious traffic accident. It didn't take long for the person responsible for the crime to be located. They had been under the same roof the entire time. This is the story of Lauren Wright. Lauren Victoria Wright was born in England on July 16, 1993. The child was the result of a brief romance between Jennifer Bennett and Craig Wright. Jennifer was already the mother of 2 children. Lauren's pregnancy was troubled because Jennifer told everyone that she didn't want another child. And when Craig found out about her pregnancy, he immediately asked for a DNA test. Despite getting a positive result, he had little contact with his daughter. Jennifer neglected Lauren's care, and after complaints were made to social services, she lost custody of the girl. Lauren was placed with her father. Craig was a 38-year-old mechanic and had no experiencing of parenting. His mother Christine and his sisters were partners in a city centre pub, but he was not get involved in the business. He only went there to drink. The 3 women took turns helping to care for Lauren. Witnesses reported that he often took his daughter with him to bars on the few weekends he was with her. One pub owner said that Craig forgot the girl about 3 times in his bar, and that the last time this happened, he had almost locked up the bar with her inside. Craig would forget then return later the same night, but this time he didn't. The bar owner had to take Lauren home to his own house and brought her back to the bar the next day. As soon as Craig arrived looking for his daughter, the bar owner told him he was prohibited from returning there, with or without her. The family pub ended up going bankrupt, and in January 1999 they moved to Welney, a town 10 kilometres from where they lived. There, Craig divided his time between working as a mechanic, weekend fishing, visiting pubs, and his new neighbour, Tracey Scarff, with whom he was now enchanted. Tracey was 30 years old. She was a single mother with 2 young children, Johnny and Patty. She worked as a playground supervisor at the elementary school where Lauren attended, and for that reason, she offered to take the girl to and from school. She was trying in some way to get closer to him. This suited Craig because in the new city, Christine and the girls were already working in different jobs, and the convenience of not having to wake up early to take his daughter to school or leave work early to pick her up was an opportunity he could not turn down. It wasn't long before they started dating and planning their marriage. In July 1999, they were married, and Craig moved next door with his daughter Lauren, then 5 years old. Lauren was a happy, healthy little girl, and she adored Tracey. She saw in her stepmother someone she could call mother. But it seemed that the reason for this quick marriage was the consequence of ulterior motives on both their parts. For Tracey, Craig would be the man who would help take care of her 2 children, considering that the children's father only picked them up every 15 days, so all this work was on her. But for Craig, Tracey would be the woman who could take care of his daughter. The projection they placed on each other was far from reflective of reality. Craig drank every day. On weekends, he fished with friends. He was never at home. Tracey gave birth to another child, and unfortunately, the pressure of this led her to start taking out her frustrations on her stepdaughter. Lauren was neglected while Tracey's children were treated with affection and praise. The girl was frequently seen with bruises on her face, arms and legs. All of this started to happen within the first 6 months of their marriage. Some staff at the school, including the teacher and principal, spoke to Tracey about Lauren's physical condition. The stepmother just said that the girl suffered from a type of skin disease. She said that these bruises would appear then soon disappear, and that she was being monitored by doctors to try to find out exactly what it was. A neighbour once saw Tracey walking down the street with Lauren. Tracey suddenly punched the girl in the head. The blow was so hard that she knocked the child to the ground. Lauren just got up and continued walking behind her stepmother while crying to herself. The man said it made him sick to his stomach, but he never reported it because he didn't want to get involved. His statement only emerged when the case came to light. I will ask you to keep this information because at the end of this narrative I will talk about this subject again. Craig still didn't see his daughter often. His work meant he always woke up early before Lauren was up and stayed late in bars each night. She would be already asleep when he got home. Christine, the grandmother, still lived in the house next door. On February 12, 2000, her day off, she saw her granddaughter for the first time in a while and noticed a change in her weight. Lauren was quite thin compared to the full-figured girl everyone once knew. She had lost hair and also had a bruise on her face which covered her entire cheek. Christine asked Tracey if she wanted her to take Lauren to a doctor, but Tracey said an appointment had been already scheduled. It is not known whether this appointment was already scheduled or if Tracey quickly set it up because her mother-in-law said she would be there, but an appointment actually took place. Dr. Eamon Clark, general practitioner, noticed several bruises on her face, her excessive hair loss and bleeding from the inside of the nose. Furthermore, the girl complained of headaches and stomach aches. Tracey explained that the bruises on her body were the result of falls the girl had while playing in the school playground. Even so, the doctor referred Lauren to a specialist to carry out internal tests, with the aim of trying to identify the cause of the pain and injuries. He referred Lauren to a pediatrician, suspecting anemia or even leukemia. A new appointment was scheduled, but it never took place. On March 14th, a neighbour made an anonymous call to social services to report Lauren's lack of care. Their city was small. Everyone knew each other. The witnesses knew both the aggressor and the victim. This man said he had seen Lauren wearing heavy winter clothes even on summer days. Now that it was cold, the girl was wearing shorts and a t-shirt. Furthermore, he had just seen Lauren alone carrying her step-sibling's backpack and her own backpack. He also added that people were commenting that they saw Lauren eating leftover food which had fallen on the ground. 2 days after this call, the owner of a grocery store called social services reporting abuse she'd witnessed in her establishment. She did not identify herself, but explained that it was both verbal and physical, and also asked the department to act quickly. In the following days, social services did take action. A social worker called Claire Mann and another called Charlotte Coates first visited the girl's grandmother and aunts. They then visited the school and finally spoke to Tracey and Craig. Craig said that he did not take care of the girl because he was always busy, that he only saw her occasionally on the weekends, but that he had not noticed anything that his wife had not been able to explain. Tracey, in turn, said that the girl was being bullied at school, that she was getting into fights, and that this explained her injuries. Even so, Lauren was referred to a new general practitioner. The clinical examination once again revealed several bruises on her body, on her torso, arms, and legs. The responsible doctor considered the injuries to be incompatible with the excuses made by the stepmother and scheduled an appointment with a pediatrician. In other words, the same thing the previous doctor did. This time the appointment was scheduled quickly due to the monitoring of the social services. This pediatrician asked the girl to draw a picture of herself and her family. Lauren drew her father, her stepmother, her stepmother's children, all together inside a heart. Because of this drawing, he did not forward the girl's case to the Child Protection Service, not pass the information to social services, which could remove the girl as a child at risk. This was a conclusion made by a pediatrician, not a psychologist. A decision that forever changed little Lauren's destiny. On April 18th, the town's postmaster, Wendy Redman, noticed bruises on both sides of Lauren's face when she went to make a delivery to the property. She called the police and what the police called the school to make inquiries. The school in turn reported that the girl was attending classes normally, that they were aware of the injuries, and that she had even seen a doctor recently who removed her from any risk list, but that they were still keeping an eye on her. The police understood that she had just recently been to the doctor, days before and not a month before. Because of this, nothing was done. The following week, another anonymous call reporting another abuse was made to social services, but the person responsible for monitoring Lauren had left the office. The assistant present heard about this call. She also knew about Lauren's case and decided to call Tracey to schedule a visit. 4 days before the visit, Thursday, May 4th, Lauren did not go to school, and Tracey's explanation was that the girl was suffering from a stomach bug. But in reality, Lauren was lying in bed trying to replenish her energy after a beating carried out by her own stepmother the day before. Tracey beat her so badly, hitting her in the stomach, that her digestive system had collapsed. 2 days later, on May 6th in the morning, Tracey came running to her mother-in-law's house, screaming for help. Christine ran to her daughter-in-law's house and found Lauren unconscious and with white foam at her mouth. In desperation, Christine tried to make the girl wake up, shaking her by the shoulders while shouting at Tracey, asking why her granddaughter was so hurt. Tracey said that the bruises were caused after a domestic accident when she moved a wardrobe and it accidentally fell on top of the girl. Christine tried everything she could: mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, heart presses for resuscitation, all to no avail. Lauren was dead. Initially, it was considered a domestic accident, but the day after the girl's death, on a Sunday, Tracey and Craig were seen drinking in a pub in the city. Craig looked dejected, but Tracey seemed to be celebrating. The medical examiner's examination came out on Monday and revealed more than 60 external bruises on the child's body, in addition to numerous internal bruises. The injuries were compared to those of a traffic accident victim. It was further stated that the girl had been dead for at least 2 days. Police arrested Tracey and Craig on suspicion of willful negligence. Trial hearings began in September of that year, and both declared their innocence. Tracey denied that she had hit her stepdaughter, saying that the heavy, cold clothes worn in the summer and the light summer clothes worn in the winter were Lauren's own choice. In the court, she vented her dissatisfaction with her husband and their marriage. Tracey said that Craig drank too much, was rarely at home, and that he left the responsibility of his daughter solely in her hands. She said that taking care of 3 children alone was not an easy task. Craig said he never suspected the abuse and didn't know what was going on. The prosecution said that he had decided to close his eyes to the situation and did not fulfill his responsibilities as a father. After a year of marriage, Though living in the same house as his daughter, he didn't realize how badly hurt she was. Craig denied this and insisted that if he had really known what was going on, he would have gotten Lauren out of the house. Several people appeared in court to testify. They all somehow, at some point in 1999 or 2000, witnessed Tracey's mistreatment of Lauren. However, what most intrigued the court was a videotape showing Tracey's eldest son, Johnny, in one of the sessions with the psychologist. He said once his mum made Lauren sit in front of the fireplace for a long time, just because she had wet the bed. The girl kept crying, saying it was very hot, but Tracey told her to stay longer. Another time he saw his mother put a whole jar of pepper on a piece of bread and give it to her, and she also put worms in her soup. Sometimes Lauren would come home from school and wasn't allowed to eat. She would be sent straight to her room. But when everybody had finished eating and if there were some leftovers, Tracey would bring them to her. He also affirmed that his mother had hit her with a broomstick several times. The week that Lauren died, he was going to the bathroom and saw Tracey punching her very hard in the stomach. She was very angry. When the psychologist asked him how he knew she was dead, he said it was when he went with his sister to take food to the dogs. When he passed her room, he saw that she was lying strangely on the bed. They got close to her, spoke to her, but she didn't respond. Then they told their mother that Lauren was sleeping with her eyes open, with foam in her mouth, and she said she would go and check later. After this, he knew something was very wrong. Johnny couldn't explain exactly what day he saw the physical attack, nor the exact day he saw the girl lying motionless in bed. He only knew that the attack happened on one day and that he saw her in bed the next. Lauren was not seen at school on the 4th, and the coroner stated that she had been dead for at least 2 days before the examination. The evidence indicated that the attack must have occurred on Tuesday night, on the 3rd, and that the girl must have died in agonized pain in bed during the early hours of the 4th. She probably remained there for 2 days. In October 2000, the sentence was handed down. Tracey, aged 31, was found guilty of manslaughter, where there is no intention to kill, and willful negligence. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Craig also ended up being found guilty of manslaughter, where there is no intention to kill and intentional negligence. But because there was no proof that he attacked his daughter directly, Craig was sentenced to just 3 years, and both were entitled to parole after serving half of their sentences. Craig was released on parole in 2002 and was freed in 2003. Tracey was paroled in 2007 and freed in 2015. There is no news of them today. Remember what I said in the middle of the story about keeping the information about a neighbour who saw the physical aggression and preferred not to do anything to avoid getting involved? You also know that I rarely give my opinion here in the cases narrated, but I need to say something. Violence against children is other people's business, yes. You don't need to get involved directly, just a phone call, like everyone else did. No one from social services, the school, or the doctors who treated Lauren were investigated. The grandmother and aunts were also exempt from any responsibility for the incident. How did the father not notice? How come grandma and aunts, even though they lived next door, did not notice? How did things get so delayed after so many calls to social assistance? How did the school not act? How come the doctors, not just 1 or 2, but 3, did not notice the problems? And I'm not here to blame these people or institutions, but it's precisely because of these people's lack of compassion that, to this day, many still ask themselves, Was there really justice for Lauren's death?